now, we know from previous years that something that many of you are very interested in is to hear stories from companies and to learn from their experiences. And we're now going to listen to 5 companies from the Uppsala region and to learn more about what they do and how they are working to grow internationally. First, a warm welcome, Mats Klaar from Viedoc.
Thank you, Linus.
So when we spoke before this event, you said that you're a tech company working in life science. So that's definitely where tech meets life science, which we talked about before. And you're based in central Uppsala, and I had the pleasure of visiting your new offices next to the central station. Very nice. And you're a growing company, so we're looking forward to hear more about you. First, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and then also what Viedoc is doing?
Well, absolutely. Thank you for coming here, Linus and Alme. Well, my name is Mats Klaar, and born and raised here in Uppsala. I also studied at the university, one of the Master of Science program, engineering physics. Started my career as a software developer in the mid-90s, a long time ago, but quickly moved into sales and marketing. I think that was more my cup of tea. And been working mainly within the life science industry in my whole career. And then in 2015, I joined Viedoc. I was very lucky and fortunate to have this opportunity, because when I joined the company, we were like a little bit more than 20 employees, and our annual sales was in 2015 around 25 million SEK, and now last year we were roughly 120 employees and had a sales of 250 million. So it's been a fantastic journey, and different reason why we've been so successful, but one of the components is obviously we have a very good product, and we've also had some really good support from our growth partner and majority owner Montero, helping us in going internationally as well. So that's a little bit short of the story. And as you said, Viedoc, we are a software company having a software as a service solution or cloud solution that is used within clinical trials. So basically it's pharma companies and also the CROs, contract research organizations, using our platform. And to make it simple, it is used within clinical trials to collect study data in a safe and efficient way.
Yeah, very good. And when we talked before this event, you also mentioned and stressed this, that it's faster, it's more cost efficient, and it's a safer process for clinical trials. And there's of course a lot to be gained from that, to financially, but also to get medicines out to people faster. Could you tell us a little bit more about how are you working to help your customers achieve the combination of faster and safer?
Yeah, that's really important, I would say. I mean, I would say time is the most important currency in drug development, going to market faster. So that's a key element. The whole space is very complex. It's strongly regulated by rules and regulations, policies and guidelines and everything. And then we are saving and processing very sensitive data. So what we are very good at, I would say, we are very innovative and also have a user-friendly software. And it sounds a little bit cliche, but we've taken this user-friendliness to a new level. So what we are doing, we are transforming this very complex data space into simple, and we are very good at making what matters easier available. So that's our strength. So clients using our software, they are saving a lot of time, and not only time to shorten the time for the clinical trials, but also on a daily basis using the software. I mean, it's thousands of people over the world using our software every day, and some feedback we've heard from clients is in the past when we used another system, we needed to maybe 3 or 4 days to train a clinical sites, doctors and nurses, how to use the software, how to add patients and to submit data, etc. But now with your software, we only spend 30 minutes, and it's a huge time saver, time that we can spend on research and on patients and everything. So that's from a time perspective how we help them. And then from make it more safe, that's a very broad question, I would say, but safe is important, and transparency in the business, so nobody would question the whole pharmaceutical industry. So the user friendliness is actually one of the components. If it's easy for doctor and nurses to submit data, you mitigate the risk of entering the incorrect data. So that's one aspect. And then we've also spent a lot of hours and money on this information security industry to make all the data super safe in terms of confidentiality and the data integrity, and also the availability. It's of high importance that any user, like a doctor, could access our platform 24/7. So that's another aspect. And then also we've built a very unified platform, so you don't have to migrate data between different products. Everything is done in one database, so there's no risk for data corruption in terms of when you synchronize different data from a clinical study.
So a lot of work going on in the background to make it easy and simple and customer friendly at the front end.
Yes.
And now working with Viedoc, most of your customers, I understand, are international. What markets are you present in?
Yes, we are very international. I think, I know that more than 90% of our sales and revenues is outside Sweden. And our software is today used in almost 100 countries. So we have a strong presence in the APAC, Asia Pacific region, and obviously Europe, and also in North America. So that's the three main regions. And from a revenue perspective, about 30% in APAC, 40% in Europe, and maybe 20% in America. So that's a little bit how the pie chart looks like.
Exciting, and all the world is your playfield in that way, where you are present. A lot of companies, I think, they are interested in hearing a little bit of advice also if they want to do the journey. What advice would you give companies that are in the start of an international expansion?
That's a tricky question. And I of course, it depends what kind of business you have and what product you have. I can only speak for companies having a...
We're focusing on digital solutions in healthcare.
Good. We have a very scalable solution, so we can basically deliver our platform to any company around the world from the headquarters here in Sweden. But usually it helps to have local presence. There's a cliche saying, all business is local. So if you're based in Sweden and you want to go internationally, I think maybe a very simple tip could be to look for the closest countries, or in the same time zone, and have a similar culture. I'm looking at Finland, Norway, and Denmark. So that's maybe the first step. And then we went as country number 2, we went to Japan, and that's kind of a bold move, but it was a combination by previous experience amongst the employees and also some other components, and also using Business Sweden, who just spoke a little bit. Yeah. But maybe looking first in the nearest region, and then I would also say that don't be afraid to make some pilot projects. So if you fail, well, then you have to rethink and do it again. But if it's a success, maybe you can scale it up and maybe employ a person in that country speaking the language and having the local connections.
So test a few markets as well and see where.
Don't be afraid to test it.
Where do you find the champions and the opportunity? And that resonates a lot with what I hear from companies and my own experience as well, that working with looking at several markets in parallel is a good thing.
It could be, but also focus is also another good thing. But it also very much depends on what you're aiming for. Obviously you have to assess the market you're entering and stuff like that, and the competition and everything. I think also you and I spoke about many companies looking at the US, and you have a lot of business in the US, but the competition is extremely hard in the US as well. So
Yeah, that's yeah, and I agree with focus, but in the exploration phase,
Yes.
That's where it's often a good thing. So looking ahead and your goals for Viedoc going forward, can you tell us a little bit about your plans?
Absolutely. I mean, today we do have legal entities and offices in Japan, China, Vietnam, and in the US. So from in terms of expanding with offices, I think we're kind of good for this year. I don't think we're going to expand. I mean, we can deliver our software from anywhere. From a market perspective, we entered the US market in 2020. It was kind of late for us. We took Japan and China first. But in one way it was good because in 2020 our product was much more mature. So for us, the US market in our very small niche, the US market is about almost 50% of the world market. So a lot of focus is going to be on the US. But we have some fantastic traction here in Europe as well, just winning one of the large pharma companies here in Europe as well. So it's going to be a competition, I would say, internally. But in terms of growing, I mean, we are already present in 100 countries almost. So it's expanding those countries basically.
Yeah. So exciting times ahead with a lot going on. We also speak about financing these expansion plans, and you mentioned you have a strong owner and that are supporting you. Could you tell us a little bit about how you work to manage the financing of this growth journey?
Absolutely. When I joined the company, it was owned by 5 individuals, and we basically, the money we had, that's what was in the bank basically. So we had to be very cautious to be able to pay the salaries every month and to be able to have some extra reserves in term if we would have a sales dip. But we reinvested any profit in the company those years. Then Montero joined us in 2019. But until then, I mean, we had always had growth and profitability. So we have built up a good bank account, so to say. So they haven't really injected any money in the company, just supporting us in a really good way. But since Montero joined us, I mean, they thought when they assessed us, well, you have a fantastic window of opportunity here. So please invest what you believe is good investment. So we have grown very quickly now, and we did a small loss last year and this year as well. But we have also had a fantastic growth. I mean, last year we grew revenue-wise more than 50%. So, but they are backing us up if it would be hard times. And now, looking at the world market, it's a bit shaky, so to say, with the inflation, recession, and war, and a lot of things. So we will see what happens this year. But we have a strong financial partner, and that's really good to know.
Yeah, definitely, and to have that allows you to focus then on your business and your growth.
Yeah.
So you have your head office and operations and development in Uppsala, but you're present all over the world. Have you had to work with your corporate culture and people culture in the head office to kind of meet all different markets? Or?
We have tried, but it's this is I mean, and this is super important, I would say. But it's running a international company. It's I would say maybe it's impossible to have the same culture in the company, and maybe also in Swedish companies. I mean, you have different subcultures in different departments. The development, the programmers, and the salespeople might have different cultures. But what we have tried to do is to align on 3 core values that we are trying to talk about on a daily basis and make projects around. And that's basically people first, be confident, and also do good. That's kind of in our nature, so to say. And it's always difficult, but you also have to sometimes allow a little bit different cultures. But the 3 core values that we talk about, that's something we try to talk about in all countries, in all regions where we are present.
We also spoke a little bit about sustainability and how you're working with that, and how that can be helpful for your company and do good. That sounds like one area where you have that in your corporate culture as well. Do you see other benefits where your solution can help greener change or change to more sustainable ways of working?
Yes, I said, I mean, our offering is making the world a little bit healthier, bringing new drugs quicker and cheaper to the market. That's the kind of the core of our business, which is fantastic, of course. But aside of that, we have an internal sustainability project, or ESG project, environmental, social, and governance. So we want to do more, and we know we can do more. And over the years, we've, as one example, we've been supporting academian organization. They don't have the budgets as pharma companies have, and so we have supported them with really good offerings. And during the pandemic, we also gave out free licenses for any organization searching for a COVID-19 vaccine. And now this year we are looking actually at making another offering on not giving away licenses to even more organization that doesn't have a funding. And it could be the third world and maybe therapeutic areas where you already have efficient medicines on the market to help even more. And then, I mean, we're obviously looking at the United Nations 17 Development Sustainability Goals as well, and also try to do activities along with them. And that's really appreciated within the company, and also looking at the world trend. I mean, this is something any company need to have if they want to have a long-term business, I believe.
Yeah, and we strongly believe that too. That's why we're working with those type of questions within Almi as well, to kind of align and find the areas where sustainability can be a driver for the business as well. Thank you so much for joining us. And before I let you go, I know we have both companies listening in, but also public organizations listening in. And one question that we usually ask is if there's anything that you could ask for or wish for that would support your further growth in Uppsala, what would that be?
I would say to continue to promote innovation. That's my key topic. I believe innovation is the key for us here in Uppsala and Sweden to be competitive and keep up the society. I mean, we are looking at other worlds. They are producing a lot of good students from universities in a pace we can't match, basically. So I think continue to promote innovation is a good thing, which you do. For us, I mean, we want to recruit more software developers, and that has been really hard for us over the years. But we are constantly looking for good people here to hire here in Uppsala.
I know you're not the only company looking for that type of talent, but hopefully that there will be people looking at this now and trying to find out more about Viedoc and applying. So
hopefully,
good. Thank you very much for joining and for sharing your thoughts about how to grow and where and about your journey.
Thank you very much, Linus.